What are your top priorities as a candidate for the school committee?
Yeah, when I think about my priorities as a school committee member, first of all, I want to acknowledge that I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. I'm not a teacher, I'm not an administrator, I'm not an educator. So I think they're the ones, they know what they're doing, they can figure most things out. And my goal as a school committee member is just to empower them and help them make a better school system for the parents and students of Plymouth. But there are a few things that are more outside of the specifics of education that I want to focus on as a school committee member. And really what these things boil down to is common sense. That's kind of what my whole campaign is about. So I think common sense says that students should graduate with basic life skills, the skills that they need to live in a society that requires you to know how to make a budget, that requires you to know how to vote, that requires you how to know who your local elected officials are. So that's why I think that we should make financial literacy classes a graduation requirement. I think about how, going into the world, I kind of had to learn these things on my own. I'm thankful that my parents were good with money and were able to help me in many ways navigate that. But I think it's tough. You don't really understand money and doing your taxes and making sure that all these things are taken care of until you're really out there in the real world. So I think we need to prepare our students to do this, and I think having a financial literacy class be mandated for graduation would ensure that they graduate with this skill. And this class is already offered. I took it at Plymouth South, although I didn't pay attention as much as I should have, but I wish I did. And I think making it a graduation requirement will ensure that students learn and understand the importance of that. And also, I think civic engagement, that's also another class that I took in high school, and I loved it. I mean, obviously I'm running for office, so I'm unusual as most kids in high school are being interested in politics, but I don't think enough of us realize how important local government is, how important understanding who our elected officials are, and understand the importance of voting. I think our students should graduate with that love of their country and that love of the process of America. We live in the greatest country in the world where we're able to vote, we're able to have a say in our government. I think we should cherish that, and our students should learn how to get involved, because there's so many more ways to get involved other than just voting. So I think those are the first two. Financial literacy classes and civic engagement classes should be mandatory for graduation. And then my second priority, top priority, would be ensuring that parents control their children's education and have absolute transparency about what goes on with their students. I think one of the ways that we can do this is the current policy revolving around sex education and surveys and things like that. The current policy is that you have to opt out of those. The student is automatically enrolled in those and you have to opt out. I think that we should flip it around. I think that you should have to opt in to sex ed and that you should have to opt in to surveys. I think that this ensures that when we're dealing with these sensitive subjects, that parents understand exactly what their children are being taught and aren't blindsided by anything. I think you saw this play out in Sturbridge, if anybody knows the story. Many parents had actually opted out of one of these surveys that had a lot of sexually explicit questions and content in it, and yet their students were still enrolled in the survey anyway. I think the requirement of opting in will make sure that that never happens in Plymouth, and if it does, I will be the school committee member who will stand up for parents and ensure that that will never happen here. And then really overall, it is just about common sense for me, my priorities. Acknowledging that I am here to serve the people, not my own agenda. Acknowledging that the money that we spend belongs to the taxpayers, and they ought to know where that money is being spent, and it ought to be justified. And just an overall respect of parents and the people, and not thinking that I'm smarter than anybody. I think I have a unique perspective in that way, in that I'm young. I don't have as much life experience as many of the other candidates do, but I think that through that I'm able to listen maybe better than some other candidates, and able to take those things in without some of the lifelong biases that other people might have. And that's not a knock on them, but I just think that's something that I want to make a priority. So overall, there's lots of things I could talk about. There's lots of priorities that I have, but these are really the main focuses and the main things that I think we can do very, very quickly. We can get them done, get them over with, and then go on with all the other important things that we have to do on the school committee.
What challenges do you see as a candidate for the school committee?
Yeah, so the challenges I see as a candidate, well, the first one being the most obvious one, me being 19, although I will be 20 by election day, if that helps anybody. I made that joke last year, so I'm going to keep rolling with it. But definitely, I think, seeing a young person, wanting to get involved in politics, some might view it as a good thing, some might view it as a bad thing, and I think I spoke about that a little bit in the last question, that, I don't have the life experience that some other people might have. Some people might come to me and say, oh, you're just a kid, what do you know? But I think turning that the other way around, acknowledging that we need more young people to get involved in politics, especially in Plymouth, where we face issues that are super long-term, like what are we going to do with our land? And this issue itself is the most long-term issue you could possibly have, the education of our children. So I think having young people, and I'm so glad that there's another young person like me running for school committee, that we have a say, we can get involved, and I am a student as well. So I think that challenge definitely, I think, is a benefit to me, although it might come off on the surface level as a challenge and as an issue. A second challenge, I think, is COVID, and this is something that is very, very close to me. I struggled a lot during COVID to learn. We were wearing masks. We were, in school one day a week. Some days we weren't even in school. Half of my freshman year almost got taken away because of COVID. I think we need to look at and address how that has affected our students' learning and see how we can deal with that. Not only just the academic side of it, but also the social side of it. I mean, imagine a student who comes into kindergarten and the only thing that they ever knew was wearing a mask, being socially distanced from their students. They're going to have, social issues. So I think we need to find ways where, students can be more involved, students can learn more about each other, that they can make friends and, really, really push that more. It is something that, should come natural. But I think we all know COVID was not a situation that any of us had ever been through before, and I think we ought to look at the way that affected the students, especially here in Plymouth, because I know that it impacted me, and I was in high school, so I can't imagine what it was like for these young kids. And another issue that I think we're facing is the age of our schools in Plymouth. You have Cold Spring, you have Hedge, you have a lot of the other schools that are very old, and it sucks because there's a attachment to these schools. You went there and now your kid goes there. You don't want to see the schools be moved. But I think we have to be able, as school committee members, to make tough decisions. Do I know exactly what to do about that specific issue? Not necessarily. I'd love to hear from everybody and hear from both sides. But I do know that we need to make sure that those schools are safe for our children to be in. Make sure that the teachers have the resources in the space that they need to educate our children, and make sure that it is also cost effective for the taxpayers. And I think balancing all those three things and balancing, the historic nature of, Plymouth and of our schools, that's definitely going to be a challenge. But I look forward to working with the community and working with the other school committee members to figure that out. And that's really, brings me into another challenge, is balancing everybody's interests. You have the teachers union, you have parents, you have students, you have administrators, you have taxpayers, you have people who have, no interest in the schools, although, we all should, but seemingly they don't because they just see their tax bill every year and it's really high. And I agree, I sympathize with that. And so I think learning how to balance those, and as a candidate and as a school committee member, I'm bringing a servant attitude to the school committee, and that's what I want to do. Acknowledge that what I think might not be what you think, might not be what somebody else thinks, and being able to listen. God gave us 2 ears, 1 mouth, so I hope to listen a lot more than I talk when I'm on the school committee. Anybody can contact me. My phone number is on all my material, and they can always feel free to send me a message on Facebook, send me an email, and reach out, because I want to be somebody who doesn't just have one set way of doing something and assume that that has to be the way we do things. I want to take everybody's perspective into account, and that can be challenging, but I hope to do that if you elect me as a school committee member.
What opportunities do you see as a candidate for the school committee?
Yeah, the opportunities I see as a candidate are really, what I've been mentioning throughout the whole interview, which is that, I am a young person, which is very unique in the world of politics. But I think I want to prove and inspire other people that you don't have to be a politician, you don't have to be an expert, you don't have to be, have a PhD next to your name to be involved in local government. I think we all need to be involved in local government, whether we're 19, whether we're 80, whether we're a construction worker, whether we're a teacher. No matter what we are, who we are, no matter our age, we all need to be involved, because this is our town, this is our country, and if we don't do something about what's happening, then we're going to have no say over what happens. So I hope to inspire people to get involved, whether it be running for school committee, whether it be town meeting. I hope to find more people that have never been involved in town government before, and they see me and they say, hey, I didn't know you could just run for school committee. I'm like, yeah, I didn't know either. You only need 50 signatures to get on the ballot. I want to be that kind of person who's encouraging people, encouraging parents especially, to get involved. I am disappointed sometimes. I understand that people work and they have things to do, but you go to the school committee meetings and there's not many people in the audience. I want to see if we can get more people there, involved in the process. Again, listening. The more perspectives we have from parents, from young people, from students, the more perspectives we have, the better product our school system is going to offer. So I think I want to focus on that, inspire people to get involved, whether you like me, whether you don't like me, whether you agree with me, whether you disagree. I want more people to be involved in local government, and that's really, in many ways, why I'm running. I also view this as an opportunity to serve. I want to dedicate my life to something greater than myself. I want to serve the people. Politics, we're so divided nowadays. You have conservatives, liberals, libertarians, progressives, whole different. You have everything. And in many ways, we talk to each other, where you have people who are elected officials, but really there's a lot of divide. And I think we need to get over that. We need to end that and acknowledge that I might disagree with you on a vote, on a decision, on a policy, on a philosophy, on the way that we should go forward. But at the end of the day, we should respect each other. So I want to bring that attitude that I'm not there to push my agenda. I'm not there to be right. I'm not there to advance my own interests, but I'm there to promote the interests of the people of Plymouth. And that's the kind of person I want to be on the school committee. I think we're missing that in our country today. True statesmen, people who love to serve, who love their country, and who love people. I hope to be that kind of person, to admit when I'm wrong about something, to hear somebody's perspective and maybe change my mind because I heard something I've never heard before. I think I have an opportunity to bring that to the school committee, and I really hope to do that. And then again, the opportunity I see is that our world is changing a lot. You have AI, you have technology, you have things that we've never had before. Even in the 2 years since I've graduated, AI and the computers, the way that they have changed, we don't realize, where our students need to be to catch up to all the advancements that our country and our world is making. So I really want to make sure that we pour into the next generation and they have the skills to be effective. I see this in the world where many people come out of high school. I know I wasn't really ready when I came out of high school. And I want to make sure that everybody graduates high school ready to go, whether it be work, whether it be trade school, whether it be community college, whether it be regular university. I want everybody to graduate with a good education and ready to go into the workforce. This means so much to me. Education is so important. It's how America became the greatest country in the world, because we worked hard, we learned, we did all those things that were necessary, and we created the greatest country in the world. And I don't want us to lose that. I want us to raise children that are effective, that are strong, that are competent, that are able to handle the challenges that we face in our world. So I see these as opportunities, and I see, again, my youth, my attitude towards service and loving people and being a servant of the people, and being able to be a young person and acknowledge that I'm pouring into people that are almost my age. I think that is a very unique opportunity that I have in the perspective that I want to bring to the school committee and service in government, and I hope to do that. Hello everybody, I hope that I was able to show you who I was over these last however many minutes that interview was. My name is Hunter Young. I was born and raised in Plymouth. I've been here my whole life. I'm the son of a union laborer and the son of an outstanding mother who ran a daycare out of our home for 15 years and then is now also a union carpenter. So I'm not, a king, or I don't come from a political background. I don't come from any of these things. I'm just a regular person. I hope that's shown today. I'm not here to push an agenda. I'm not here to be a regular old politician who's gonna lie to you, who's gonna, say something just to get your vote. I'm here to just represent you, the people. And that's what I hope to do. I'm a product of Plymouth Public Schools. I know the good, the bad, the ugly. And I hope to make a better school system for everybody, for the parents, for the taxpayers, for the students, and for the teachers, and for all those who are working hard to make a better life for our children. And again, what my campaign is ultimately about is just about two words: common sense. I think many times we get lost in the political divide, we get lost in the issues, we get lost in the crazy things that people will say on social media. But at the end of the day, the issues that we really face at the local level really are simple. Are we going to value, our own opinion? Are we going to value what I want? Are we going to value greed? Are we going to value, following just what everybody else is doing? Or are we going to say that, no, let's be able to think outside of the box. Let's be able to hear different people's perspectives. Let's get everybody at the table. Let's hear from all perspectives and learn how we can make the Plymouth public school system better for everybody. And that's the kind of person I want to be on the school committee. Bring old-fashioned common sense, respect, open dialogue back to our country and our town. I think we need to do this, and I hope to do that. I hope you all get out to vote. Last year, voter turnout was 13% in Plymouth. There's 53,000 registered voters in Plymouth, and only 6,700 voted. Let's get out to vote, whether it's for me or the other candidates. I want to know what the people of Plymouth think. I hope that we can get that number up to 50%, 60%. Who knows? You look at your property taxes, you look at any issue facing the town, that's something that local government has something to say about. So I'm going to keep saying it, whether you're voting for me or you're voting for the other candidates, get out and vote. And I'm going to go out there. I hope to meet many of you on the campaign trail. Again, my phone number, it's publicly accessible. I can literally tell you it right here. It's 508-209-7502. If you want to text me, call me with any of your issues you might have, perspectives you might have as being a parent or being a taxpayer, or if you just say, hey, where is this money being spent? Let me know. I'll go figure it out. I know many people don't have the time to do this, but I hope to be your representative on the school committee, take the time, dedicate my life to serving so that as many people in Plymouth know that they have a school system that values the parents, that values teachers, that values administrators, that values the taxpayers, that values America, that values the principles that our country was founded on. And another thing too, I think this is just going on I'm on a little bit of a roll here, but I thought of this, I forgot about this, I haven't said it yet. Cursive. I think we should bring cursive back. There are studies that have shown that it is good for the brain, for development of children to learn cursive. Also, all our founding documents were written in cursive. I think it would be great if our children could read our founding documents in cursive, the Mayflower Compact, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, all these things, and be able to read primary sources. I don't know cursive. My signature is not very good. I think we should bring cursive back. I think it would be better for everybody. And I think that's just another common sense thing, so I thought of that right out of the blue. But again, my candidacy is about common sense. It's about service. It's about respecting and loving people. It's about making a better school system for everybody involved, and even people who might not be directly impacted by the school system. We need more voices at the table. We need young people. We need old people. We need people who are involved in town government, people who currently aren't involved in town government. If we want to create the society that we want for our children, we all need to get involved. And I'm just one person trying to do that. So I really hope to earn your vote on Saturday, May 17th, or on mail-in or early voting. My name is Hunter Young. It's been a pleasure doing this interview. I thank the local scene for inviting me for doing this. And I hope to see you all on the campaign trail. I hope to see you at Candidate Forum on May 1st at the Town Hall. I will be there. And again, you can reach out to me via phone, Facebook, email. And if you want to help out on my campaign, you can find me at Hunter Young for Plymouth School Committee on Facebook or on Instagram. Find me if you want a yard sign, let me know. If you want to help the campaign in any way, let me know as well. And even if you don't want to help the campaign, even if you just have something that you disagree with me about, let me know. I'd love to talk with you about it. I'd love to hear your perspective, and I'd be willing to change my mind on things if I'm wrong about it. So again, thank you all so much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I hope to see you all out there, and I hope to be your next school committee member in Plymouth. Thank you.